Hey everyone, I hope you're doing great. Thanks for tuning in to today's video on resume advice for young professionals. A couple months ago, I finished the lengthy search to hire 2 new engineers. And through this process, I saw over 100 resumes. And in those 100 resumes, I saw some great ones and some that weren't quite as good. In this video, I want to give you my advice. And while I'm not a hiring professional, I do believe this advice will help if you're an engineer or in another professional occupation hoping to find your dream job. In this video, we're going to go through whether or not to include a picture, how to format your resume, the file type to send it as, some advice if you're handing in a printed copy, keywords to use, how to make sure some of your personality comes through, what interests to include in your resume, showing your skill set, why you should be interested, and how best to follow up. So to begin, picture or no picture? Well, this advice seems to change every year on whether or not you should include your picture. I think you should. When you do this, whoever's looking through the resumes now sees more than just a name on a piece of letter-sized paper. Now they know who you are, so when they're recalling the different resumes and who they went through, you'll stick out because now there's a face associated to the name. There's more of a connection built. In your photo, you should be yourself, and I suggest that the photo is the top third of your body. The purpose of your resume is to get the company to select you, which means you need to fit in with the company culture. So before you choose a photo or get one taken, go through the company profile on LinkedIn or their website, see what they wear, see what type of people they are. If it's business professional attire, then you should match in that. And on the other hand, if it's blue jeans and a t-shirt, you'll have better luck wearing an elevated version of this than a suit and tie. Next, onto the format of your resume. After going through 100 different resumes, 90 of them were the exact same Word, basic resume format, and it was boring. Any resume that looked different, that someone actually spent a little time formatting with different colors, different headers, an interesting way to lay it out, those stood out to me, and those I wanted to actually read through and see the fine detail instead of just skimming through them. I think it's important to think of your resume as a piece of marketing. You are marketing yourself, just like a box of cereal. Are you going to pick up the box of cereal that looks the same as all the other ones? No, you're going to get the one that actually draws your attention in. If you saw your resume on a shelf, would you buy it? The point of a resume is to capture attention, make an impression, answer the questions that an employer is most likely to have, and get you to the next stage of interviews. Therefore, spend the extra effort making your resume attractive. Because I promise you, they're not reading through your tomb of qualifications. They're skimming to see if you're even a candidate and if they want to have you at the organization. In engineering, and I assume many other professional organizations, do not use the basic Word templates. Use something like Adobe or Canva and have an interesting template that's going to stand out. Here's a quick example on one that I made on Canva. It's easy to do, and I didn't see a single other resume like it in my search. File type. The file type that you send your resume in is extremely important. If you're emailing it or uploading it to their servers, make sure it is a PDF. A doc is not acceptable, it is not professional, and it'll almost instantly get you disqualified. On the other hand, if you're printing your resume and handing it in, spend the extra time to get it professionally printed and on thicker cardstock paper. You can even include a bifold booklet to put your nice and thick cover letter and resume in. And if you want to even go further, get full bleeding and use a printing service so that you have color and background all the way around right through to the edge of the margins. This will make you stand out. Keywords are extremely important, and your resume should follow the job posting as much as possible. Whether it's an assistant or the HR department or a computer that's first scanning your resume, they're looking to see if your keywords and what you enjoy, what your qualifications are, they want to make sure that they match the job posting as much as possible. Because the first filter at any sizable organization isn't going to the yes pile, it's just going to the potential. If you're using wording for skills or your experience, even if it is a synonym, anytime that it's different than what the job posting is, it makes it much more difficult for the HR or the assistant to scan through and select you. Portraying your personality is extremely important in your resume. Most young professionals in engineering or other sectors that have worked in the same field will have nearly identical qualifications. And then it's the personality that's going to set you apart. Most of the companies I know are hiring and selecting for the right cultural fit. They're trying to build a cohesive team that can work together. Today, everyone has to be skilled. That is the baseline. And to stand out, you really need to include your personality. If you pretend to be just what the company wants and that's not you, in the long term, this is going to hurt you because you're not going to enjoy your work. You're not going to enjoy the other people at that team. And eventually, you're not going to be a right fit. When you're looking for a job, make sure that you're joining a team that you actually want to be a part of. Likewise, to including your personality, I think it's very valuable to include your interests and hobbies. While everyone will have the same skills, it's what you do outside of work and what you do outside of the technical skill set that's going to set you apart. As I was reviewing all these resumes, I like to see what type of people were joining the team or what type of people were wanting to join the team. By knowing what their interests and hobbies are, it provided me a lot more to talk about in the interview and to have someone who was actually interesting. When trying to select what interests to include, think about the type of role that you're going to be joining. For example, if it's in manufacturing, having interests that are tangent to that can be very beneficial. For example, if you like working on cars in your spare time, or woodworking, or designing, all of these are subsequent skills that can help your job and your employer. When including your skill set, as mentioned, essentially all the candidates, or at least all the good candidates, will have the same baseline skills. So just to get to the next stage, make sure that you include all relevant skill sets, and you can usually tell what these are going to be based off the job posting and the keywords that they use. And after you have those baseline relevant skills, include ones that are going to make you a more interesting and well-rounded person. For example, photography, videography, speaking different languages, graphic design, anything like that. And depending on the exact skill, it may be better to put into your interests and hobbies. Think of these as a talking point for your in-person interview. The best way to be interesting to the hiring professional is to be interested in them and in their company. Most people love talking about themselves more than anything else. So do research on the company. Find out what their mission is. Find out their history. And when you're in your interview, ask them all about that and ask them about themselves. If you can get them talking more than listening, they'll remember the interview as being something exciting and you being someone that they want to join and have on the team. After you've submitted your resume, it can be very difficult to know when to follow up. Sometimes the job hunt, they can be looking for someone immediately and will get back to you within an hour. And other times it's an ongoing long-term effort and it could take them weeks to get back to you. I suggest not being pushy. Send a follow-up 1 to 2 days after and don't do anything cringeworthy like asking, hey, when do I start? Instead, just be polite. Thank them for their time and let them know if they have any other questions, you're happy to provide any information that could help. To summarize all this, when you're sending in your resume, the key priority is to make an impression. You want to be true to yourself while being a good fit for the company. Focus your resume using the same terminology that the industry and their job description use. Be interesting, be interested, and be yourself. Remember, you can be at your job for decades, and hopefully it'll turn into a career that you love. So spend your time selecting the right company and don't just focus on the prestige or the pay. Find someone where you're going to grow. Try to work under a mentor that you admire and pick a company that inspires you and that you value their mission. I wish you all the best of luck to finding your dream job. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more, here's a recommendation up here.